Oops, camera. That helps. That would help. Yes. Ah,
here we are.
oh.
Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Let's get my other.
Hey, this video seems a bit better.
It is actually better. The quality is better.
Better than
I used it for my other podcast on Saturday, actually, for the first time. It's quite hilarious. It all worked out.
Yeah.
But
that's good. That's good. This looks a lot better.
Let's get my.
It's amazing when you leave these platforms for a week and then you come back, how much they've changed in a week.
Right, let's get that out of the way. Let's check my episode notes quickly. Let's do a quick. Thanks for doing this for us. You must be pretty busy today when you just come back. So what we're going to discuss, Jace, for the first 15 minutes is I went to Inman's Connect in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I went on Tuesday and Wednesday. I had to come back on Thursday. I couldn't spend almost the whole week down there. So I missed Gary Vaynerchuk's, but I had some friends. I watched it online and it was much. It was a shame that I didn't see him live, but he didn't really cover anything that different. And I just want to go through some of the people I spoke to, and I put some of the. I got all the links here, so I can bun them in chat. And is there anything? Got any ideas about what you would like to talk about in the second half?
Well, I'm kind of curious as to. I think the Inman thing. I mean, I don't know how much was. How much information was there, but I think you could almost fill a half hour just with that.
Yeah, let's go for it then. All right. And I've got a good guest for if you're going to help me next week. I've got a really good guest, actually, Jason. I've got Megan Thomas, the lead instructor in social media from lynda.com, joining us.
From lynda.com? I've never even I've never even played around with that website, so I'll have to play around with that.
Lynda. Well, they were owned by LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn got bought by Microsoft. They are the leading video training company in the world.
Linden.com.
Lynda.
Lynda.
Lynda.com.
Like the name. Linda?
It's LY.
Lynda? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw LinkedIn is actually starting to do their videos with influencers. I think their influencers are able to now post videos.
But she's got a whole, she's got 5 courses on there. Thousands of people do the courses. And she's the chief social media instructor when it comes to Facebook, advanced to paid advertisement. And she's going to be going through all that with us about some of the things you got to understand about paid Facebook advertising. It should be great.
Oh, perfect.
She's a very nice lady, very knowledgeable, and totally QT. Lynda wouldn't hire anybody that really didn't know what they were talking about.
Nice.
So, right, let's do a practice. Right. Hi there, folks. This is the Mel Wright Real Estate Agent Show. This is episode 58. I've got my great co-host here, Jason Bates. Introduce yourself, Jason. You introduce yourself. Well, let's do it once. Hi there, folks. This is episode 58 of the Mel Wright Real Estate Agent Show. We're going to be talking about my little trip to Inman Connect in San Francisco last week. I'm going to be talking about all the things I learned and the people I spoke to. And I've got my great co-host here, Jason Bates, and then I'll ask you to, that's the way to do it, isn't it? So let's start my...
It's all good. Let's just do it.
Hi there, folks. This is the episode 58 of the Mel Wright Real Estate Agent Show. We're going to be talking about my little trip down to San Francisco to the Inman's Connect. last week and all the great people and things I saw, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. I've also got my great co-host here this week, Jason Bates. Would you like to introduce yourself, Jason?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me part of the show here. Once again, honored to be here on this podcast. I'm Jason Bates. I host a podcast of my own called Valley of the Sun Real Estate Show. And I am very happy to be here. If you want to check out my website, you can do so by visiting at www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow.com.
It's always great to have Jason. He keeps me on the tight and narrow. You probably observed, folks, I can blab off topic a bit, can't I? But Jason keeps me. And we're using a new platform to record this, folks. It's called Fire Talk. Jason put me onto it. And it looks pretty cool, the video quality. If you go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, that's the Mel Wright YouTube channel, you'll be able to see us and how Jason keeps me under some kind of control. So
I try my best.
You do. You're very, I love Jason. He's a really great guy. Inman, folks, if you haven't heard of Inman's a really online magazine all about the real estate industry, and they're very prolific in the articles that they produce. They have a lot of guest writers and they have a lot of writers on staff, and they run these conferences. Normally, they do 2 a year in San Francisco, also in New York, and also in Florida, Miami. So this was from Tuesday last week till Thursday. The keynote speaker was going to be Gary Vaynerchuk on Thursday. Unfortunately, I had to leave Wednesday evening. I couldn't spend a full 3 days. I had some other commitments. But I spent a good 2 days in San Francisco, where the mornings are worse than an English winter. But it brightens up it burns off in the afternoon. Yeah. So where to start? First of all, it was a really interesting event, folks. If you can, they did a free, the Tuesday part of the event, you could go for free actually. And it was well worth it, and they got a fantastic attendance. And also they have a hall where they have a number of people, startups, demonstrating technology, new startups with a specific services and products aimed at the real estate industry. I'm going to just quickly go through some of the speakers and that. I think what I got from a lot of the kind of talks that I went to was that the biggest 2 factors was there was a tremendous interest in Facebook and Facebook paid advertisement, and also tremendous interest in live video, which we have covered, haven't we, Jason? A little bit.
We have. I just saw an article though last week when I was on vacation, reading some magazines, live video. It's kind of a fad right now. There's some out there, some haters, maybe we may call them, that say live video is going to go away. People are going to get kind of immune to it. And to some degree, I tend to agree a little bit, because live video can be used. I'm already starting to I'm going to be honest. There's a couple agents here in town in Phoenix that use live video. I'm already bored with them. They're not keeping it fresh. They're doing the same thing over and over and over again. So it'll be interesting to see how live video progresses, how creative. Facebook doesn't allow for a lot of creativity. It's kind of your phone, although they have some outside apps, OBS and some other things that you can integrate in to use live video.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah. And I saw vMix as one of them too, which is really cool. I'm going to start using that, at least testing that out this week. But using these platforms, I talk to agents all the time about live video and how I believe in it. But it doesn't seem to sink in. There's no you got to be very, very creative when you're doing some of this live streaming. It's not, hey, I just don't want a face shot of the realtor. I want some interaction. You got to mix it up a little bit. Face shots of a realtor when you're talking about specific things, I think, there's some value in there, of course. But you can't do that over and over and over again.
Well, I think I slightly disagree, but I do understand where you're coming from. I think it's really the value proposition. If you're going to do like a series about different areas of a city, and the content that you have prepared is got some real value, and you've done some serious research, and you've practiced, and you're talking it through, and then you're also going to use it on your website, plus whatever, long as it's got some real value. Unless you've got a very upbeat personality, it's got to have some real value what you're talking about, because other people are just going to tie. I don't know what these two real estate agents in your area are doing. Are they just talking about properties that they've got, or does it seem just to be general? Let's do a live video because I've got a spare couple of minutes, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of thought gone into it.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both. It's all properties, and this is where I say that's not evergreen material. That's just me. The properties are here today, gone tomorrow. And that's great for the short time that they're on, and maybe showcasing an open house or something like that. But you really got to tell people why you should be representing them in the transaction. That's where I think the value is. If you can leverage the property to your benefit to tell people why they should be using you, maybe how you got the listing, for example, maybe some of the offers that are being made on the listing, give us some background on it. Just don't get me wrong. You need to showcase the property too for your sellers. I get that, but also use live video and recorded video to leverage for evergreen material that you can use 6 months down the road. This is where I think a lot of agents get disconnected. First of all, kudos to the agent for just getting on camera, right? I'm not going to because most agents don't even want to be on camera. So good for her to be on camera first and foremost. It's just that it's got to progress. When you're doing video, you got to progress. You can't just stay in the same lane.
Well, the days I call it being the secret agent. I'm sorry, folks. If you want to be a secret agent as a real estate agent in 2016, I think you've chosen the wrong career. I think, or you're going to be a very poor agent, and you won't be in the industry for very long. One of the other things was that there was a lunchtime session where they had, especially on Tuesday, where they had a series of panels, quick 10-minute panels, and they had a panel of luxury agents and how they managed to get into the industry and into the luxury side. And one of the agents really has built up a reputation in Southern California very rapidly over an 18-month period. And he really didn't have any contacts or a book of social contacts to rely on. But how he broke in was he utilized video, and he very creatively, and he hired a group of young video editors and producers from a local film school, and he produced a number of videos. I've got the gentleman's name, but I will put it in the show notes. And he based, and now I think he said last year he sold about $8 million. No, it was above that. It was like 30 million, because the area he was in, the average price was around 3 million. So he sold about 30 to 40 million dollars worth of property, and a lot of that was being based on a very attractive website, but utilizing social media and producing amazing videos of the properties, which attracted sellers to him. And that's how he built up his book of business.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the videos seem to speak more to the sellers than they do the buyers in those situations. But good for him. I mean, that's fantastic. The agents are going to. How many times have we said? I've said anyway, Jonathan. Right now we're in this infancy stage of video. Right, live video just came out. 6 months ago? Not even that. I think on Facebook. And so making mistakes on Facebook, no problem. People are very, very tolerable of this. But when you start getting into that luxury market and you start getting highly produced videos and people start seeing those and they start to get out there, then people are going to start to demand those higher quality videos, and maybe tell a story or other types of creativity that comes along with those videos. And so right now we're in this unique opportunity that you can get in there and make a video and nobody's really going to care the quality necessarily, the audio. I mean, the content's got to be there or whatever, but it doesn't have to be perfect, I guess is my point. And now there's going to come a time maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, where video is going to have to be spot on. It's going to have to tell a story. It's going to have to, it's going to have to progress. It's going to have to be interesting. It's going to have to be engaging. It's going to have to be all those other things, or people aren't going to pay attention to it.
That'll be me finished. Another, I've asked her to come on the show in the next few weeks. Part of that panel was a female agent that's only been agent for 3 years. Yeah. And it was Amanda Todd from Sacramento. That's not too far from where I live, folks, which is in the Reno area. Mm-hmm. And she has utilized video. Obviously, the price points in the Sacramento area aren't the same as the two other agents on this panel that were both based in Southern California, in Orange County. But she's also, I went to her website and I think she's also using Curator. It looked like a Curator website as well. She did agree to come on the show and I emailed her today and hopefully she will respond. So that was interesting. But the other thing, there was tremendous interest in Facebook and paid advertisement. And there was quite a few speakers that were going through what they did and to, they were saying that, using boosted posts and paid advertising, $100 that they were like, some of them were getting like 10, 15,000 views. Wow. To spending $100 and using a systematic system. So I'm still really strong on Facebook, Jason, and I really, that was a message I got from Inman.
Hey, I'll give you a little side note or whatever. I did a Facebook ad for my podcast, and I spent $5. Not much, right? I didn't put a big budget on there. I tested it out. This is about 6 months ago. And I only did it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Only 3 days, $5. And I got 1,000 impressions. And I got 10 website clicks. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when I've spoken to a lot of Facebook, users of Facebook ads, they said that's really good for the price. I don't know. That's really good to me, right? 1,000 impressions, 1,000 people saw my brand. That's pretty good.
It is actually. It's quite amazing. And for the kind of money, I'm looking for the person that I spoke to that impressed me the most. And if I was in a little bit more order, I would be able to do that, folks, wouldn't I? But
I'll give you another little. I really was able to really modify the Facebook ad to target the audience that I really was looking to go after, and it was very, very specific. It wasn't just throwing it out there and to 10,000 people and only 1,000 people looked at it. It was very, very targeted, which I thought was very, very good. I've also encouraged some agents to even look at doing Facebook ads, or not an ad, but maybe a post or whatever for an open house. I've got one agent here locally who's done that, and he's gotten quite a bit of traffic through Facebook, targeted areas for open houses.
That's great, folks. I think we'll go for our break, folks. And when I come back, I've actually found the name of the person that really impressed me with Facebook, and we'll go back onto that. So we're going for our first and only break, folks, and we'll be back in a second. Oh, folks, we're coming back. Jonathan's got a bit more order now. So basically, there were two speakers from the same company, and that was Labcoat Agents, and their co-founder and COO, Nick Baldwin, was extensively talking about utilizing Facebook, and they got a brokerage, and they were actually going through examples of Facebook paid campaigns that they do for their brokerage. Plus, they got this training company, and a key element is they offer training around Facebook. I was quite impressed. I've also emailed Nick to see if he would come on the show at some stage, because he did agree. I had a little chat with him when I was at Inman Connect, and they had a very detailed structure with analytical data that supported their statements around different type of Facebook campaigns that they've utilized. And you do need a realistic budget, folks, but you don't, compared. Recently, I've for another business that I run, I was looking at Google AdWords campaigns, and I've got to tell you, folks, that unless you got about $24,000 to $32,000, it's really hard to get any Google AdWord advertisement agency to really talk to you. So unless you've got $24,000 to $36,000 to throw at it, they're not really that interested. So that's Google AdWords for you. Obviously, you can have a go yourself, but it is. They did actually talking about that. One of their speakers, unfortunately, I forgot his name, but he was the marketing director with one of the top marketing directors with Google, and he was talking about AdWords and some of the trends. And he was talking that a lot of agents, there were two specific areas he was talking about. He was talking about YouTube, and he gave a little tip, because he said a lot of agents have attempted to use YouTube, and and it's really hard to get subscribers and to get traction to your YouTube channel. And he said a lot of it, he couldn't give specifics, but he suggested that anybody should go to the New York Times YouTube channel and really look at the page, the video titles and the tagging structure that the New York Times uses on their YouTube channel. And he's really strongly seemed to infer that if you follow their structure, that you're going to get a lot better results with your own YouTube channel. So I thought that was a nice little tip.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he remarked about, I've bookmarked it. I haven't really studied it because I've been pretty busy since I've come back. Is a thing called dynamic AdWord campaigns. So if you do a Google search and put dynamic Google AdWords into search, they've got some documentation. And he said it's not for the light-hearted, but it takes a bit of effort to set it up. But then you can leave it to run yourself. And he seemed to suggest that you're going to get some really excellent results from it. So I am going to look at it and come back to you folks and discuss that, because it is an area on my list of things to study. So I thought that was an interesting discussion, but like I say, I think there's still a lot of value in YouTube, but I think you've got to really get serious about tagging and, like I say, go to the New York Times site, which is on my list as well. But to hire somebody, you need at least a budget of 2,000 a month, and that, apart from power agents or brokerages, that's really out the budget of a lot of agents, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not cheap, but you can do it on a shoestring budget too. It just takes time, and that's one of those resources that not a lot of us have. So you can do it, but it takes a lot of time. There's an agent actually out of Canada who does his own videos, does masterful job at his videos, but he's up until midnight every single night doing these, editing these videos. So with a family, baseball games, soccer games, football, it's a little unrealistic.
But I think with Facebook, I think of a budget of 200 to 300, which is on the lower end of what you would pay with Zillow. I think Zillow starts at 330, depending on what area you're in.
Right.
But the beauty of Facebook, folks, is it does take a little bit more work, and here's a range of products that MailRight's going to be offering in the near future, where we're going to do this for you. But I don't mind discussing it with you, the listener, if you want to have a go yourself. The main thing you've got to do is set up landing pages on your website, or use a product like there's a number of products that you can utilize that you can set up landing pages, but your adverts have got to drive to a landing page that's really on your website, and you've got to have some lead magnet to get some information. But another interesting thing I found around this, they were saying that if you do set up a landing page with a lead magnet with a form asking for detail, people will give you their mobile number if you say that you're only going to text them back. You get as 50% of people that actually give you a real mobile number if you make it clear that you're only going to give them a text message back. You're not actually going to call them. I thought that was fascinating, actually, Jason. Wasn't it?
No, that's good. Text messaging, I've seen those same studies. People are more receptive to text messaging than phone calls. There's no pressure in a text message.
Yeah, and like what we discussed the week before, these two companies actually, Rayleigh, I'm speaking to the CEO the middle of this month, and with that discussion, he is going to come on the show as well, Jason, to talk about his company. Good. So I've rounded up. I think we're going to have some great guests in the next coming months, Jason. Some interesting people to talk to.
Yeah.
So on to some other things.
Let me ask you this.
Yes, go on.
And with Inman, when they talk about video and some of the things, changing real estate, if you will, how much of the conversation was 360-degree video or virtual?
It was. They're funny enough. You must be reading my mind, actually, because this is why we get on, actually, because Jason, we are on the same. We got the same interests, and we're on the same wavelength to some degree, aren't we, Jason? Actually, they had an expert talking about this, and they are excited. I think it is quite early days, and in the startup conference area where they did have some setups from a couple companies, and one company has a really cool looking camera, but either a professional photographer would buy it and then would lease out his services to a whole group of local agents, or you would have to have a group of agents or a major regional broker, because the whole package was about 10 grand to buy.
Matterport stuff, is that what that?
Yeah, but the actual quality, the demos they showed, and it was very impressive. And when it came to the central conversation, I think it is early days, but I think it definitely in the next couple of years, let's say the next 2 to 5 years, it will become a dominant feature in almost every aspect of real estate, I would say.
I mean, I think it's going to be sooner than that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think 360 is going to be here, and it's already starting to come of age. And then we're going to start getting into virtual reality with real estate, and that's already starting to take some some hold there in Los Angeles and some of the bigger cities, virtual reality and real estate. I mean, real estate is just prime for video. It's just prime for it.
Yeah, well, it's not that I'm disagreeing with you. It's a bit like video. You know, you were saying about these two agents in Phoenix, and you're getting a little bit tired, but you still said you still give them full marks because at least they're doing some.
Right.
So we're in 2016 now, and video and the iPhone and the cameras, they've been around since 2006, and now we're 2016, and you know, and still, I would still say about 12 to maybe 15% of agents do any kind of video work at all.
Don't you think though it's because of the buyer, the nature of the buyer? I mean, older buyers, you know, myself, you know, I'm in my 40s, mid 40s, you know, video just wasn't that big of a deal, but millennials are becoming of age and video is a big deal. I mean, Snapchat kind of hit the scene and it's gone crazy, right? And now we've got real estate agents jumping on the bandwagon about Pokemon Go and how much they can, you know, utilize Pokemon Go for real estate. They're still missing that whole quality. They're trying to attach themselves to millennials and get into the millennial sphere, if you will. And that's why I think video is going to take this trajectory of just an upward, kind of a steep little trajectory over the next couple months. Because if you're one of the early adopters and you've already gone through all the pains of, you know, hey, does my hair look good? And you're not sweating and you know what to talk about and you're comfortable on camera, you're going to be way ahead of everybody else once they do adopt it.
Funny enough, it's amazing how this half hour we were aiming, because Jason's been very generous to come on here because he's his first day back to work. Actually, he's been on a vacation, so it's been a bit crazy for him. So I said I'd try and keep this to 30 minutes, and it's almost gone, folks. But I just want to finish off. Funny enough, you saying that fits into the last subject, and we'll probably do a part 2. Won't be able to do it next week, but the week after, because there's a load of stuff that we haven't discussed. But to get back to the last, it's linked to a presentation that was done by Joseph Rand, and it was about your top. It was aimed at brokers because they had both days they had two kind of channels, one for brokers and one for agents, and I went from one area to the other, and this was aimed at brokers. And he was talking about that the reality is a lot of brokers, top agents are really, really getting to retirement age and are actively retiring. And I'm not talking about somebody 63, 64. I'm talking somebody in their late 60s.
Yeah.
And they should be. I know, for financial reasons, and we're just living a lot longer, that we just have to accept that we're probably going to have to work a bit longer than we fantasize. But I don't really see myself playing golf for 20 years, even if I had the money. But he was saying that the brutal fact, because of the recession, a lot new blood that would have entered the real estate industry just didn't.
Right.
And now there's a gap between experience and your top agents, because your top agents are getting to this 68, 69, and they're looking to leave, and you haven't got any other top performers to fill the gap. And that's because a lot of millenniums and a lot of younger people, because of the reality of the property market for a 6 to 7 year period, just didn't enter the industry. So there's a big, and he looked at the historic facts and what drove the industry and some of the history of the industry, which I personally, for the past 18 months, I've been on a kind of my own personal university degree about the real estate industry. And that's one of the reasons why I've done this podcast to it, because obviously I'm a WordPress software guy. But through this podcast, I've actually gone through my own personal journey of learning about the real estate industry. And I think I've learned a lot about it, haven't I, Jason?
Yeah.
But it was fascinating to, also asked Joseph to come on the show as well, because he's a top agent in New York and he runs one of the biggest brokers in New York City. And he's got almost 25 years experience as a principal broker, and really fantastic guy. But he was going through all the history and I found it fascinating, actually. So I think that's one of the factors which is linked to what you were saying about video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but if you're making a living now not using video, why change? You have to, as a realtor, you have to be forward thinking. You have to think ahead of the curve. Just because you're getting business today doesn't mean you're going to get business tomorrow.
I totally agree with you. But so many agents, not all, a lot, understand what you've just said. I had a interview last week with Thomas, who's based in California, and he was talking about he's been with the same training outfit for almost 17 years, and he's got a lot from actual structured mentorship and training. But that's a major commitment, and I totally agree with you. Because why is it important, even if you're getting results now, for the reason what Jason said, but also, you're not doing the best for your client. If you did a set of videos, you could probably sell the house quicker and probably get above market price. If you could get another 3 to 4% through active video marketing and sell it 3 to 4 days than average in your area, that's really working for your client, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the power of video. And plus with video, I know we're kind of harping on video here a lot, but with video, there's a lot more, what a picture's worth 1,000 words, something like that. Video's worth 10,000 words or whatever. There's things that you can say that you don't have to sell. It sells themselves. Just through your body language, through your intellect, through the words that you choose, everything, your demeanor, everything about you then speaks to the person that you're going to best associate with. And so there's an agent here who uses video quite a bit. And she loves video. She gets 90% of her business from YouTube. And she says, hey, Jason, there are no awkward moments in the car when I'm taking them to show the properties, because they already kind of know who I am before they even meet me. So you know what you're getting when you're doing video. And if you want, I always hear agents complaining about this buyer kicking the tires, not wanting this, going back and forth on decision making. Well, if they saw your videos and they came from your videos, they know what your personality is like, your attitude, everything, kind of not everything about you, but, professional aspect of what you do and what you represent. And
I'm so tempted to ask you, if they saw my videos, would they run the next direction? We're going to call it
out of business, maybe.
Yeah, Jason's going to get on with some serious work. But before we go off, folks, Jason, what's the best way people can get hold of you and find out
the best way
about you?
Yeah, just visit my website. Follow me on Twitter. I know a lot of agents don't use Twitter. Start using Twitter. Twitter's a big deal. So use Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Jason, Jason Bates, Bates, just like the motel, for all the people who understand Bates Motel. Or visit my website, www.valleyofthesunrealestateshow.com. From there, you can email me, follow me social media. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and the way to get hold of to help the show is go to iTunes, folks, and subscribe to the show if you haven't already, so you automatically get this show downloaded. And if you do have a spare moment, give us write some nice things, give us a review on iTunes. That really helps. And go to the MailRight site and give me some feedback about the show notes. Give the product a quick look over. We're working on it. I honestly feel I was emboldened by what I saw at Inman's, because I actually think the MailRight product is just fantastic value for the what we're offering. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully Jason will be able to join us. And like I say, we got Megan joining us from lynda.com. She's the leading instructor in Facebook. She does all the advanced courses. She must have had over 100,000 people do her Facebook courses, and she's seen as one of the leading instructors and knowledgeable people when it comes to Facebook. So I'm sure she's going to be a fantastic interview, and you're going to learn something from that. So let's say goodbye, Jason. Bye.
Goodbye.
Oops. So that's the podcast bit. So I'm going to. It's not like Lab. It doesn't generate straight away. You got to leave it like for 2 to 3 hours, and then it pops up the video in the interface. And the actual quality is very, very high, but they don't compress it as much as Blab. So what I've done with the last couple of my other podcasts is I've downloaded it and then I've compressed it a bit more before I even upload it to iTunes, because it's taken, not iTunes, YouTube, because it's been so large. But it seems to work okay, doesn't it? It's really stable. You haven't got all these worries that you got with Blab.
Yeah, no, you don't have those worries. The only thing on here that we just have to do is we got to create our own audience. That's really the bottom line. I mean, Blab, but even Blab, it had its own internal audience, but that was it. I mean, the big shows brought their audience with them. So we just got to build our own audience with it is what we got to do.
Yeah. I keep twittering. It's funny what you say about, so you honestly believe that Twitter, a lot of agents really don't understand and don't really use Twitter. Do you really believe that?
I 100% believe that. And they're not using, they think Twitter is social media. Twitter's not social media. Twitter is a news feed.
Yeah.
So they think Twitter's social media and like, well, why do I need Twitter if I have Facebook? Well, it's a whole different demographic of people on Twitter.
What I do is Buffer. I use the Buffer, and the Buffer has got a lovely library system now for this show and for my other, I've built up a library of different twits, which I push out of guests that we've had. I'm going to add some new ones, but I've got over 20 of previous guests, and I'll just keep pushing it out. And what I do is on my iPhone, the Twitter app, I've got it set so when somebody retweets or says something, it comes to me, and then when I've got a spare moment, I thank them and I engage with them. That's when I engage with some, or try to. Yeah. And it normally does get the numbers up. But for the others, I just push content out using Buffer's library system. And a little.
How many Twitter followers do you have right now?
See, I've got my two businesses. I've got the business that actually makes me money and pays for my mortgage, which is WP Tonic, which you're aware of. Yeah. But I've got about 8,000 followers.
That's good. See, that's really, really good.
That took over 2 years to build up, but now I don't actually try and build the following. I'm getting it naturally.
Yeah.
Now with Mailrite, I've got about, I think it's around 1,200 to 1,300 followers on my Mailrite account. But a lot of them don't Twitter that often, but it's still going up gradually. I'm going to attempt also to try and, he did say he would come on, but he's on a nationwide tour. That is Chris Smith from Curator. He has said he would come on the show, and I'm also on, I post regularly on his Facebook group. He's got a 25,000 technology Facebook group, and I help people on that quite religiously. And he's been quite kind to me, Chris. He's a really decent guy, Jimmy and Chris. They're not bad guys. And they're doing fantastically well, but they're real hard workers, and they deserve to do well, don't they, Jason?
Absolutely. That's where, I'm a big believer in Twitter. Twitter does ads as well. You can do ads on Twitter relatively cheap. I'm kind of experimenting with that a little bit. There's lead captures, all kinds of different things on Twitter as well. But Twitter's doing video now more aggressively. I know they use the Periscope or whatever, but they're looking at, they did an NFL. They did some of the debates live.
There are some, I like Twitter, but I also like Facebook. I'm not one of these that likes one and despite. I like both of them.
Yeah.
But Twitter's got problems because they haven't found any real way to, in any shape or form. Now, compared to Facebook, it's is in the tens of millions, but compared to Facebook, it's I think it's less, not even 1/3 the amount of people. And how many of those accounts are machine generated and real accounts? Nobody knows. And they really haven't found a way of really commercializing. I understand the advertisement side is expensive, and quite a few people said they haven't got very good results from it compared to Facebook. So they've got some major things to sort out, and that's been shown up with all the changes in the top management and everything else.
Right. Yeah, there's some different aspects of it. I mean, but like I said, Twitter is a news feed, and I've tried the Instagram thing a little bit. That really hasn't worked for me.
I heard Inman that, funny enough, a lot of agents have got some really good results from Instagram.
Yeah.
Funny enough, but it's an area that I haven't really, because there are no automated systems. There's a couple. Actually, Buffer have just introduced the part of. I was getting back to my little tip for you. Basically, Buffer, the free account, only allows you to post 5. But what you do is you pay for 1 month's for the paid account, which costs you $10. And then about 4 days into that, you upgrade it to the business account. But you got to cancel it. They give you like 14 days, like day 11, you cancel that, and then you cancel your $10, and then you get the full functionality of the whole program for free.
Okay, so you paid $10,
and then you upgrade it to the business version, which is like $99 a year or something.
Yeah.
And then you get 14 days, and then when you're in your day 10, you cancel it, and then you cancel your monthly as well, and then you get the full functionality, and you get it. They can't switch it off.
Wow. So there's a little loophole there, isn't there?
Or they're not bothered with it. I don't know, but I did it by accident, and they still haven't cottoned on. So when they do, I'll just pay for the $10 a month. But I thought I'd give you that. That brought a little smile to your face, didn't it, Jason?
Right.
But it is compared to Hootsuite, it's so much better. Hootsuite's just a bit of crap, really.
Yeah.
Buffer's so much better, and now they've got this library, and they've got Picasso. Is it Picasso or something, which allows you to put text on the photographs as well? That's inbuilt with it as well, which you can freely use, and that's fantastic as well. It's a bit like Canva, but it integrates with Buffer, and it works really sweet.
Nice. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, when you use it, you won't be able to go back to anything else, and you just build up a library of Twitters, and then you pump them out every week, and it only takes you like 20 minutes to pump them out. I use it for my MailRite, and then my MailRite also gets my MailRite social media feed. That's part of the MailRite package as well, which the agents just love. Funny enough, my email side, they don't see the value, but I've got a full drip marketing system, but which I'm going to push a bit more. But what I didn't want to do, Jason, is I didn't really want to build a customer management system because there's a number of those now, isn't there? And I just didn't really want to build another one of those. But the email functionality of MailRite is pretty sophisticated. There's 2 sides of it, and we've got a whole system. And we're going to be writing drip marketing campaigns for agents, and we have the ability for the major content management systems. We'd be able to, for a brokerage, we'd be able to link it through the API system with that. But what the 2 things they really like is my my social media system, and they love the website we give, and they love the reputation review system we've got, which are 2 really powerful. So I have to show it to you maybe in the next couple of weeks. But I
got to get going though. I don't mean to cut it short or anything like that, but I gotta get going. or my wife's going to kill me. So
she's okay.
doing good. She's doing good. She's just, when you get back from vacation, you almost need a vacation from the vacation because you're trying to catch up on everything.
Well, you feel a bit funny, don't you? You're not totally with it, are you? Well, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. It takes me a couple of days to kind of get in the groove. It takes you the first couple of days to kind of unwind, and kind of relax a little bit and not be so tense. And then when you get back, it takes me a couple of days to ramp back up and get back the intensity.
You're surprised how you don't realize how tensed up you get, do you?
Yeah, no. I mean, you go on vacation, you're still tense. You're like, you're still gritting your teeth and, stressing out and everything else. And then by the end of the vacation, you're nice and relaxed and comfortable. And so it takes a little time to get back in this.
And then you have Jonathan.
Yeah, then I got that.
All right. See you later, James.
Right,
Thanks
see you next week.
See you later.
Right,
I'm going to kick you out. You're gone. You're gone. He's gone. I enjoyed that. I did it, folks. See you next week. Bye.